Okay, let's okay. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to BWTM Sports Gaming. We have in the reverse Tony Cesay. Tony, how are we doing?
Good, man, good. How you been? How's everything been?
Everything is good, my brother. Everything is very good. Listen, I thought I'd call you in. One of my good connections and good brothers within boxing, to talk about Andy Lee, because I know you've had a personal relationship with Andy Lee, and you know Andy Lee from a long time ago. So tell me about your experience of Andy Lee and what he's like as a person.
Andy Lee is a fantastic boxer. It's the family all box, you know, and the brother, fantastic. He was marvelous. He led Ned Lee, and Ned was no one could touch Ned. You know, he was long arms and long legs, and yeah, you couldn't reach him, you couldn't touch him. He won over 20 odd, you know, junior titles. You know, that's how extraordinary he was. He was unbelievable. So, and Ned at the time, Andy at the time was never in the league near his brother. Andy was just starting off, and he's just watching his brother, you know, do damage to everyone. he was unbelievable. Right. Yeah, he was.
So tell me about Andy Lee. How I know his brother Ned was very good, but what about Andy?
Oh, Andy became even better. I think Andy became really good when he left Wrexham. I think, you know, and he moved to Ireland. When he moved to Ireland, he really was on it, because, you know, when he was at Wrexham, he was young. He was only young at the time, and you know, he was a bit chubby, and he really didn't you know, feel that he really wanted a box sort of thing, you know. But you could see that he, you know, the pressure of the family that he was from, you know, he had to box. They all boxed. Everyone boxed. So he was a lot of pressure, because he was so good. He was unbelievable, you know. And Ned only boxed to, I think it was just turning senior, but then he moved. But you know, Andy was there. He, you know, won a few, lost a few, but then he decided to back it up one time, and then I said, his dad called me. His dad called me, because they were always my favourites. I always used to, you know, do pads with him, and you know, he always used to come to me, and we do running down the park, or just outside Wrexham. We do the sprints, you know, like a little test, the bleep test. I always used to do the bleep test out there, and then Andy will come and try and do it with me, you know? And he started, and I think he became good when he went to Ireland. That's when he really focused on it, because the next thing, I never knew he would, you know, Ned didn't do it anymore, and Andy kept on going. He stopped, you know, being from a travelling community, he just worked. He got married and he worked, you know, had a family, young, and Ned did. And so Andy just took it on himself to, you know, push for greatness for the family, and he did. Because the next thing I knew, he was in the Irish side, you know, squad, going back and forth to different places. And I was reading about him. Every time I read the boxing news, he was winning this, there, he was winning that there, and then he was going to here over here, and I couldn't believe it. You know, this young lad who's, you know, nearly gave it up. He nearly gave it up. You know, I had to go to his yard where he lived in Bow and talk to him. You know, I said to him, listen, one day you're gonna be even better than Ned. You know, I said, because you know you wake up and you're in this gym every time, every week. You're here 3 days a week. You come on a Tuesday, Wednesday. Some days on with Ned, he'll come, and then he'll come on a Saturday. So you knew that, you know, he really wanted to, you know the game. He really wanted to, you know, go places in boxing, because you live in the gym. If you want to be a budding star, especially an amateur star, you have to live in the gym, and then when you know, become an amateur to a pro, there again it's your job. So and I think that's what he decided. So when he went to Ireland, that was it. I kept seeing him, and then I went to a tournament. I saw him at a tournament. It was fantastic, you know. Yeah, and then next thing I knew, he was in the Olympics. You know, he went to the Olympics. Wow, what a story. It was unbelievable. You know, his brother was the best, out of the family, you know, Ned, but he became even better. He became a world champion. You know, to see, you know, it was tearful. You know, it was a joy. And he came boxed for the Repton as a youngster, and then he boxed in a club in Ireland. I think it was the club where he went, but he became a star there, and even the better star when he went to America. He went to America and he boxed under some coaches I knew there, and then, you know, he was at the great the Cronk Gym. Wow, it was, you know, following his story, and even when he came back to England, he always banged me up. Him and his brother would ring up, and, you know, they introduced me to what's the heavyweight? His cousin.
Tyson.
It's his cousin. It's Tyson. Yeah, Tyson Fury. It's his cousin. So he was the one who introduced me. So I took some of my boys, and at the time I was at the a gym, the TKO gym, and he called me up and he said, "Yeah, Tyson's doing a little, you know, body work and, you know, and the pad and that for the boys." And he never forgot me. He came, and I took all the boys from there, and that's where you'd see the pictures of, you know, Anthony and all the rest of them taking pictures with Tyson Fury, you know, and you know, yeah, it was an eye-opener. He told me then this boy, this fellow, his cousin, was going to be world champion. I couldn't believe it then, because I seen Tyson spar a few times in TKO gym, and he had some good spars, but I would never have thought then he would be world champion. It's when I saw him then, you know, and his work rate and his work, it's unbelievable. And being a nice person, you know, he took pictures of all, signed stuff for all my lads there, and yeah, it was a great day for him. Meeting a young budding boxer who, you know, only had, I don't even think, only a couple of fights then, but telling me he was going to be a world champion then. Wow. And now seeing him, you know, with that status, as being a champ and going to America and cracking it, wow, it's unbelievable.
So you tell me a second. So I believe like Andy Lee is going to make a very good trainer from how he conducts himself as a champion and as a pro fighter. Him working with Emmanuel Stewart at the Cronk Gym, he's got all that experience around him, the amateur experience. He's going to make. I think he'll make a real great trainer. He's got that calmness about him. What do you think?
I can't wait. You know, I can't wait for that man to start coaching. I would even go over there to watch him coach. You know, me now, you know, he was watching me as an amateur. Now I was watching because all that experience that he's had from amateur in Ireland and in America, and with the Kronk gym itself, every person in that Kronk gym knowing and having that good energy, you know, delivering of advice. Come on, when you take that on, because all you've got to do is watch, you know. And I watched a famous man, the goose, the mongoose, and when he came in with what's that heavyweight who beat who up Muhammad Ali stopped.
Archie Moore. George Foreman.
No, oh yeah, Archie Moore was the coach. It was 2 weeks that I spent with Archie Moore. You could get,
wow.
You know what I mean? So he was telling me this and telling me that, and he talked to stories like then. You know, you had time with George to tell you stories about everything else. You know, him and Ali, and they were like an evangelist. You know, you just sit there, you sat there, and you just, you know, learn everything. And that's why I've got Archie on my wall, and I speak to his daughter every now and again, saying hello, and she says hello back. But yeah, when you got back from that, them sort of people, it's extraordinary. Archie Moore, the man.
God, you can't beat experience. You can't beat that experience.
A lot of people don't know that, see? And that's what made me feel that, you know, I had the experience with people like Tony Burns, you know, George Odwell, and these are the icing of the cake in amateur boxing. And then you go to the pro side of it, you know, you had Lawless and, you know, and because Tony Burns knew Lawless and Mickey Duff. So we had all them people around us, and you knew what tricks and what, because they were talking about stuff all day long. You know, they would send us up to the Royal Oak, and, you know, watch a bit of sparring, watch him get, you know, beat up, watch him go and get, you know, watch him go and learn. So you had all that, you know, everything like that. So when you had great people like that come in and teach you things, you just wanted to learn. And that's what I think, like someone like Andy Lee has done. He's learned, and I can't wait to see him the best in coach. I know he'll be a good coach, and I know that whoever he has will turn out even better. You know, will deliver.
You're all just breaking up. Check your connection; it's breaking up slightly.
Okay. All right.
Yes. Okay. So how do you think he does with Joseph Parker? Just to close this off, how do you think he does with Joseph Parker?
I think he would do well with Joseph Parker, because, you know, Joseph Parker is someone who don't like to commit. He likes to move and run and move, and I think he'll make him stand, make him move his feet where he needs to move, and be commanding. And throw, because he's got a good jab, Joseph. He's got a fast jab, but to commit to run throw it, it's very hard for him. He seems that, you know, something is in the back of his head. He don't want to get hit, so but you know he has got it there, and needs somebody
to bring it out,
experience to bring it out in him, you know, to make him feel I can go do this, and it's experience from coaches who have been there, who have done it, who know how to go and throw that cross, you know, that jab in and step in with that back, and hit him hard, not just hit him, but go through him, you know, and that's what they don't teach, to go through you.
Go through.
That's what I always was taught.
Not stay at the fight. Yeah, but that's also to do with the technique and the technical attributes that his previous trainer was teaching him in Kevin Barry.
That's it. I don't know. I don't know if he did that with him, because I don't know the coach. But I do know, you know, this man here, and I know what has been taught through the years, and the academies has been in boxing throughout in Ireland and America. I know them people there are teaching the best, and he did. He fought the best. He was with the best, and he retired at a good age. He was at the right time. He didn't go and act like them boxers who just keep to go in there for paydays all day long. He knew, he was smart, and he's got his faculties. So he knows where he lives. These boys are not going to know where they live. They're not going to know where they live. They ain't going to know where they live. They go on, and boom.
Okay. Very quickly to end, how does Joseph Parker tackle the first challenge with Andy Lee, which is Derek Chisora? Because Derek Chisora is going to force him onto that back foot, and he's going to make him fight.
Yeah, of course he is. But with somebody who knows how to move the feet, someone like Andy will teach him how to move it, and then let him walk onto them shots. Then let him walk onto them backhands, and then cross.
And he does walk onto shots.
And that's easy. Because if someone's the power, there's even greater power there, because he pulls himself, and then that shot, boom, it's explosions. See? So I think it'll be devastating if you get someone like Andy, fighting like someone like Chisora. But Chisora knows himself. He's not silly. You know what I mean? He's a tough man, and he'll know what to do with someone like that. So it'll be a good fight. It will be a good fight. That's what someone who really wants to go to war, and that's his name, Warhead. That's him. So, and there's another one who likes to box, pick people off. It'll be a good fight. I wouldn't know who would win that one. All I'd know, I would like to see it. I'd love to watch it.
Yeah. I'd
love to. I'd love to if it does go on. Do you think it will go on? Do you think they'll?
Well, Chisora's lost 10 times. So as far as I'm concerned, he can work on the counter. He can work to Chisora's strengths, or his strengths are also his weaknesses, because he walks onto shots. He got knocked out by David Haye and Dillian White walking onto shots. And if Parker times him right, he could do the same as well. But Parker's got to engage. He's got to engage. He cannot not engage against Derek Chisora, else Chisora walks straight through.
He's got the power. He's got the heart. He's got the strength. I don't understand why.
I think the trainer. I think the trainer and complacency. You've been doing the same old things over and over and over again with a trainer who can't give you any more. I think Andy Lee's going to give him a lot more, and the tricks as well, tricks of the trade, which I think we'll see. Hope.
Can't wait.
Absolutely. Can't wait. Another quick question to ask you about Joshua Buatsi joining Virgil Hill. Another fighter, I believe, needed a change of trainer. What do you think about Buatsi with Virgil Hunter?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, it's fantastic. I don't know what the problems were. Was there a rift in the camp, or something? He just want to change?
Absolutely. He just kept getting hit with right hands all the time, and his face was getting busted up by guys that we really didn't know anything about. So I was saying, for a long time, he's too open to right hands. And he's quite a small light heavyweight. If you look at Joshua Buatsi, you know Joshua Buatsi anyway. He's a small light heavyweight. He's not a big light heavyweight, and he's getting hit with big punches against guys who are not big punchers. So his defense is tidy up.
And I think this move with his coach and him being an American here, it's going to make him. It's going to make him a different level, and that's what you need. It's these sort of things to make impact on better fighters. When you develop coaching skills and boxing skills, and you know they have the knowledge to develop it, that's what you've got to go. When they're cool, they've got to go.
Next question, very quickly. I've got to move on. Anthony Yarde. There was a rumor mill going on that he might possibly be going to fight against. Might be going to Matchroom. What are your thoughts on that?
Wow, I don't think so. I think, you know, I think Frank would look after him and looked after him very well. I think, you know, I don't know nothing about that as well. You know, but I think he should stay where he's at, you know, and Frank's looked after him well. And I think
that's what I've said.
We go to places like Matchroom. Matchroom is a place. It's nice, you know, nice guys, nice, you know, love him. But I think he just will be better just by being someone who really cares and adores him. He, you know, he adores him, and I think there are more doors for him. All he's got to do is that, doesn't he? You know, he's just got to go out there and do his job. If he does his job, and that's it. You know, this is all about go out there and fight.
Do you think?
Sometimes you haven't got to be so technical. Throw the shots and you know.
You're saying something. Go that again. It doesn't have to be so technical. Did you say?
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes you ain't got to be so technical. Sometimes you just got to go in and make sure you're hitting him. You ain't getting hit, but not to be so technical. See, so sometimes you just got to go in there and throw some shots, and then you know, and engage. You know, so that's all you got to do. That's all you got to do with some of these guys.
You know Anthony from the amateurs. You work with him in the amateurs, so it's not like you're talking from out your ass or something. You work with him as an amateur.
Yeah, no, I'm just talking about.
Yes.
When I'm saying box, I'm still not talking Anthony. I'm talking about sometimes when you know you want to go out there and engage with people, you got to go out there. I'm talking about boxing itself, but I do. Yeah, I've known Anthony for years. He's like my boy. He's like my son. Do you know what I mean? So you know, there was problems, you know, within himself. I wouldn't even have let Anthony box. Do you know what I mean? At that time, you know what you have to go through when you have, you know, one person dying. If you have people dying, come on. You're talking about Megan, this mental illness thing which is going on. Why didn't they really see that? And you got to remember we were in the lockdown, and when the lockdown it's
worse.
For them to say, right, now professional boxing is open, they just want to do shows, didn't they? Promoters just want to get their best boys out there. But this boy was hurt. He was hurt. He was not mentally prepared, you know, for anyone. Not even someone, anybody. I think, you know, that's the stream of mental, you know, illness and depression, and you know, no one really thought about him and what he was going through, and this is the hard thing, and this is why people just, you know, when you've got someone who is really, you know, not healers there. You've got 3 people in his family which have just gone like that because of, you know, the pandemic. You know, 3 important people in his life. You know, and that's and I know lots of things are going on as well, you know, with that, with families. You know, so he had a lot. He's the main man in that family. He's the one who does everything for everybody in the family. He does everything for them. It's unbelievable. He does everything for them. Believe me.
I can imagine.
He'll go back and run from here to there to go make sure you know, his sister's got you know, she's got money. You know, and he didn't even have a car at the time. He ran from there all the way there to give her the money. Do you know what I mean? It's unbelievable. You know, he wanted to get back. Now get back because my mum needs help with blah blah blah. I'm telling you, and you know, he loves that family that much. And for him to have that, we weren't there. We weren't in the right place. You know, I wouldn't have put him in. But that's how it is. That's how when you're in the pro game, they just feed you. The promoter because he wants you to fight. You're willing to fight because you're a boxer. You're a gladiator. So you're in there. But you've got to have people to say, listen, you're emotionally. Are you? You know, can you? and he's going to want to fight. Remember, you know, you're not looking at the other side of it. Sometimes it will work because you think if he fights, he forgets about that and he goes on. But no, not in that case. Not 3 people. He weren't there. But you know, let's see when what happens now. This whole thing has been losing that fight, and now him coming back, I think you'll see a bigger, better response.
And what about the whole Tunde Ajayi situation with people saying maybe that he should get rid of Tunde? How much responsibility, how much blame should be at Yarde's door, and how much of it should be at the trainer's door?
So I don't think so. I don't really know about what has gone on or whose fault or what's fault. I mean, all I know is that he's got to go and fight again to show people that he can beat this guy. He can stop this guy. But for me, you know, I was wanting to stop him. You know, to show that he was a different person. This is the Anthony Yarde I know. And when we went, we stopped people because that's what I told them. I said, listen, if we go here and we go there, they're not going to give you that decision, son. So if you don't stop him, you might as well just, you know, you'll be walking home, because that's what I used to say to him. If he didn't win, I said, you'll be walking home like the rest of them. If they didn't win, that was it.
You had Anthony fighting a very aggressive style in comparison to how he's fighting as a pro.
Aggressive style. He fought like a pro anyway. Even when he was an amateur, he fought like a pro. You know, so you knew that they were going to come calling. You know, it was you know, aggressive, but you still had to watch, because in amateurs it's all about points. So getting caught, you always be caught. You know, be caught out by judges who really don't want, who are not home judges. Do you understand? If they're home judges, they're just looking at and they're tapping you with it, not even hurting you. It's still points to them. You understand? So for me, I had to teach him how to move that head, move, don't get caught, but hit, always hit. So if they're not hitting you, they're not winning. They can't win. Do you understand? Because they're not hitting you. But if you're hitting them and you're moving in moves, and that's how he did it. He was ferocious because I made him I said things to him which will make him upset. He'd come back in the corner and it was listen, son, you ain't even run. You're puffing. I ain't puffing. Listen, I said you puffing. And he said, and he'll say to me, I said, nothing for water, and I'll be drinking the water like this, and it'll piss him off, and he'll go, listen, I'm going to stop him this round, and he'll go out and stop him. Things like that, you know, and it's not even that because he's a changed man, but these are the things that you had in your head for the kids who are just growing up and wanted to get into the amateur game. So you had to have certain things to get going, you know. You develop loads of things. You've got so many things in your head. Having good technicians like Tony Burns and always taught you things. I had to motivate them. I had to motivate a young boxer. I had to develop a young boxer. You know, you had people like the Goose, you know, who I was seeing, you know, talk to George Foreman, you know, and make you laugh, you know. So you think it was all a mental thing, you know. It's a mental thing, you know. You've got to make sure they were ready to prepare for them to get into fights. If they weren't ready and prepared to get into fights, I wouldn't let them fight.
It sounds to me that you roughed up Anthony Yarde to get the best out of him, and there was none of this lions in the camp business. It sounds to me that you roughed, as an amateur trainer for Anthony Yarde, it sounded like you roughed him up a lot. You didn't give him his space. You roughed him up to bring the best out of him. Whereas with this other approach he's got now as a pro with his pro trainer, it's different.
I don't know I haven't got a good relationship, you know, and they do stuff, and they, you know, so I'm hoping now that, you know, he really, you know, pulls himself together, you know, gets through the healing process of family, and once he gets through that, you're gonna see real, you know, lion himself. You know, I used to call him a lion because he looked like a lion. When he used to have braids in his hair, he would be barring, he'd be lying after barring like a lion, like and breathing in the air. I used to say, "You look like a lion. You look like a lion."
Just to close. Just to close with you very quickly, because our time's running out. There are people that don't think that Andy Lee is the right man for the job for Joseph Parker. You know Andy Lee from an amateur profession, from the amateur game. You've known him grow, seen him grow as a professional fighter, and you're a trainer yourself.
Yeah.
Why should people believe in Andy Lee from a professional perspective?
Because what he's done, look at his resume, look at what he's doing, look at what he's done. Come on, he's the right person to teach somebody like his partner, who don't like to engage. All he listen to someone like the Lee, and you'll see the difference in that man. Believe me.
Lee wanted to engage. Yeah, absolutely. You're breaking up a lot, Tony. We're going to have to... Oh, Tony's gone. Okay. We've just lost connection with Tony Cesay, but that's it. Tony Cesay, for those of you who don't know, he was the former trainer of a lot of amateur fighters and a top amateur star himself in the amateur game, and has worked with a lot of the guys who now turn pro now. So he's a very good guy to talk to. As he said in the interview, he had the beauty of meeting a guy by the name of Archie Moore, a legendary fighter, and being able to talk to Archie Moore and gain experience from that. And I can tell you firsthand, when you're around guys who are very good trainers or very good coaches, it rubs off on you. It rubs off on you if you're listening and you're spending a lot of time around top trainers. It rubs off on you. I have no doubt in my mind that Andy Lee will be a very good boxing trainer. Whether he's going to be a good enough trainer or whether he's going to be the right fit for Joseph Parker remains to be seen. Joseph Parker is not as aggressive a fighter as Andy Lee, but there's no doubt in Andy Lee's ability, and I don't think you can doubt the credentials of Andy Lee without him getting started. So for me, I back Andy Lee 100%. I think it's a good move for Joseph Parker. Andy Lee is a calming kind of guy, a calming influence, knows the pro game, knows the Kronk way, and there's not many people in the world today can say that they know the Kronk way. That's a very special way. And to have had the experience of working with Emmanuel Stewart, not just as a standby watching, but as a fighter as well. He knew how Emmanuel thought, just like James Ali Bashir. And I don't doubt what Andy Lee can do. No doubts in my mind. And he's got my full support. So I expected big things of Andy Lee and Joseph Parker coming soon. So, and you heard it from Tony Cesay himself there. So that's somebody who's in the pro game and in the amateur game and has lots of experience and has worked with some of the top names in boxing. So I'm going to go for what Tony Cesay has to say on this one. So I'm out. Thank you for watching. This has been BWTN Sports. Apologies for the quality of sound at the time, the connection, but I just wanted to make sure we got Tony Cesay in the room to talk about a little bit about Andy Lee, from knowing him as a young boy, going to Ireland, and then coming back and going to America. All that experience from being in Ireland, fighting, going to the Olympics, working with Emmanuel Stewart, becoming a world champion. All those are key factors. So he's been from British level right through to world level. And or European level, he's gone on to become a world champion. He beat Matt Kobrov, a guy that a lot of people didn't want to fight, and he knocked him out. So full credit to Andy Lee. Fought some of the best guys around in world boxing, and came from the Kronk gym. So a top fighter, and I think he's going to make an absolute excellent trainer. As a pundit, his work is excellent as well. And he seemed like a no-nonsense type of guy. So, yeah, I back Andy Lee on this one. Good luck, Andy Lee, with Joseph Parker. No doubts in my mind. He's going to do the business. This is BWTN Sports. Have a good night. Take care.